Right. What's happening now?
Hi, sorry about that. We had a major technical hitch there at the start of the stream. But hello and welcome to Thfc Till I Die. Tottenham home. You're all right, Ellie?
Yeah, I'm fine. I had my laptop fell down and I couldn't see myself. That's it. I'm okay now. That's it.
We are back.
Okay.
Listen, we had a bit of a technical hitch. What the hell happened there? I have no idea.
I don't know.
But anyway, welcome to Thfc Till I Die. Your home of Spurs from the past to the present, and this is Newsbeat. This is where we get you the latest news from around the club, and also a little bit for build up before tomorrow's away game to Bournemouth. And also, we're back tomorrow at 1 o'clock with our own, I think 12 o'clock, with our own DERMOTRON and Queen Ellie pre-game thoughts, and of course the watch along as well, and the post-match shows for tomorrow. But Ellie, how are you this afternoon or this lunchtime?
I'm fine. I'm just looking forward to us playing Bournemouth as well and getting a good performance in, like from start to finish, because they'll be out to gun us down, so we have to be on our game, and we can't be slacking like we did against Sporting in the first half. We have to be on point from the first kick to the last. Yeah.
Well, before we get into the latest news, we're going to talk a little bit about how we think Tottenham will line up tomorrow. Yeah. Now, this is my lineup for tomorrow, and everyone in the chat, let us know if you agree or disagree. I know Ellie's going to disagree straight away because Luis is not in goal, but we'll get Ellie's thoughts in 2 minutes. I've gone with Foster in goal, Romero, Longley, Davis the back three, Spence, Perisic the wing backs, Højbjerg as captain, Basuma, and then the front three of Son, Kane, and Hill. I've gone for a 3-4-3 because I don't think I think we play better with a 3-4-3. That's my own opinion. I think it's the Conte's way of playing. It's been successful. I think we need to stick with it. And I've decided to drop Dyer because he's just fucking useless. But the problem is you can't drop all of them. So one of them has to play. And I've gone with Davis on the left side, with Longley into the middle, Spence on the right wing back, Perisic on the left, Højbjerg and Basuma, giving Bentancur a rest because of the Marseille game on Wednesday, I think, which is important to give him a rest. Son, Kane, and Hill up front. Hill making his Premier League debut for Tottenham if he does start. That's my 11. Ellie, do you agree or disagree?
The only one I disagree with, you know what I'm going to say, is Lloris in goal rather than Forster. Other than that, I agree with everything you've chosen.
Yeah.
Yeah. Very nice. Very nice team.
Yeah. Big up Drew as well. She says, hi, guys. Big up. Thank you for joining us. What do you think of Højbjerg as captain, Ellie?
Lovely.
Look, we're both big Højbjerg fans anyway. Huh?
Yeah. You don't have to ask me twice to put him captain.
No.
He's a natural born leader.
Mm. But Ellie,
he's a leader of men.
Yeah. But why are you so adamant that Luis has to start Saturday? Would it be worth just resting them, just to give him, a day out of the game? Look, you just let him get his head together, or do you think it's going to do far worse dropping him than it would? Do you know what I mean? What are you against giving Foster a go?
It's not I'm against giving Foster a go. It's just because I like Lloris when he's in our team, because contrary to belief, he does shout a lot, and he's quite a good leader. He's obviously the goalkeeper. I don't think should ever be a captain. That's my own personal opinion, and it's a lot of people's opinions actually, not just mine. Even football pundits, I've heard them say that the goalie should never be the captain, which I agree with. But I just like Lloris. I like him as a goalie. He's a very agile goalie. He commands his box most of the time. I wouldn't say he makes that many errors in comparison with other goalies. The thing is, Dermot, when you make a mistake as a goalie, it's highlighted all over, isn't it? But if you make a mistake as a defender, you can get off with it. So look, if you compare him to how many mistakes Dyer's made, it pales in comparison.
Yeah, but Ellie, look, when Luis makes mistakes, it's more profiled because he's a goalkeeper. Look, I agree, when Dyer makes a mistake, or Davis, we know there's a mistake in them. Look, I'm not disagreeing with you. Look, we disagreed last night, and look, for me, Hugo's been a great servant to the club, but he is starting to look. The great Pat Jennings, great servant to the club. Keith Birkinshaw dropped in, put in Barry Daines and Electrics in goal. And we still went on to win things. The players that are at a club for a long time do end up leaving or retiring. So
but we didn't win anything with Barry Daines in goal, by the way.
I know that.
We won with very poor shots.
Yeah, but look, is it prudent for Tottenham now to start looking ahead to life without the race?
I think give him just to the end of this season, because I have noticed that his reflexes are still fantastic, like his reflex saves and the way he gets up to the high shots. I don't think there's another better goalkeeper in the Premier League at high shots. He's fantastic. It's his low shots I'm worried about, getting down to the low ones.
Would you not say De Gea's not as good at high shots as well, Ellie?
No, not as good. He's good, but not as good on the high shots. But on the low shots, I would say De Gea's better. Yeah.
And
I have noticed,
Are you happy with the formation, Ellie, or would you put 3 in midfield?
You know what? To tell you the truth, if Forster plays, I won't be too depressed, because he is a good goalie. He's 6'7", for God's sake. It's just the low ones I'm worried about, because, big goalies, they tend to be really bad at low ones. But having said that, Lloris's low shot saving has been a little bit suspect, to say the least. Especially because I watched the Marcus Edwards goal back quite a few times now. When I was in the stadium, I thought he's got no chance to save it. But having watched it back, I thought he could have saved it.
That's the point I was trying to make last night, Ellie. You could blame. Everyone was blaming Romero. Some people, for the life of me, I still can't get my head around why you would blame Romero for that goal. Dyer, for me, was at fault, and Hugo was at fault for that goal. That player had no right to shoot from that distance. It was we should have closed him down. But you can blame the midfield for that as well as the defence. The midfield should have closed them down a bit quicker. But look, it's a loads of ifs and buts, Ellie. Look, the results in, it's done. look, we have to go to Marseille, which actually brings up this other point. Here, this is the league table now, and can I just say very quickly before we, before we carry on with this, from myself, Ellie, Philip Brady, Izan, and Chris, we want to thank you all so much, because last night we reached the magical 700 subscribers. We are so grateful. So thank you all very much for reaching us up there.
Thank you very much.
We're not stopping yet. We're going for 1,000. We're 300 off 1,000 now. Or is it 300 or 200, Ellie?
It's 300 off 1,000. So what I would urge everybody, all your friends, family, anybody who likes Spurs or love football, this is the channel to come to, because we're like a forward-thinking channel, but we also do historical stuff as well. So if you like the old stuff and you like the new stuff, this is the one to come to.
Yeah, and me and Ellie will be doing a little pre-record thank you message as well for everyone. That will be going up today. So after we finish this live stream, me and Ellie are going to do a little thank you from us and from the channel, because we've got 700, and thank a few people who've got us here so far. Look, Ellie, this is the table. Spurs, five games played, 2 wins, 2 draws, 1 defeat, 8 points. Sporting on 7, Frankfurt on 7, Marseille on 6. Look, the VAR, this is what UEFA wanted with the VAR. Look, we can absolutely go over that to death. But look, it proves the point that UEFA's corrupt, because they got what they wanted. Look, we need a point where actually we've got a few people talking about the lineup. We'll go back to the lineup, Dave Hampton, big up, and then we've got a few comments here, Ellie. We'll get them in, and let me take that down before we go on to that. We've got Julia said that's a hard one about Lloris, but it's good to give Foster a game, and maybe Bournemouth might be the game to give Lloris a rest, as we have Liverpool after. 100% agree with Højbjerg as captain. We've got Dave Fitzpatrick, big up John Fitzpatrick, my Irish brother. How are you getting on, John? Big up, John. Big up Dermot and Queen Ellie, he says. And then we have Dave Hampton. Big up Dave Hampton. Don't think I've seen you in the chat before, but big up. He says, hi guys, the only problem I have with that lineup is there any chemistry between them, especially at the back? Well, that's actually a very good point. Now, Dave, Dave, hang on, let me get that lineup again for you. If you can put in the chat, what would you do with the back three? I mean, for me, I struggled with this morning. Ellie, I had Romero in the middle. I even put Sanchez in the middle. I mean, how much as I hate Sanchez, it's very hard. I can understand. Is there any chemistry? But you know,
you never know until they start playing together. Yeah. But what I saw from Hill, right? He has got chemistry because he's a very clever player. He's one of these players who picks up pockets of space and finds areas where other players don't go into. He's a very confident player. He can take on a player, which I like. And that feeds on the other players as well. Because as soon as he came on, there was a natural chemistry between that front three. Even Kane started to dribble, you know, and normally he just passes. He doesn't really take on his man, Kane. Yeah, so I think, you know, I think they'll do better than what we've got. Just put it that way.
Are you worried that, look, they're looking taking Spence out on loan. Look, I've put Spence in. We know full well that B. Emerson be there on Saturday, Ellie. We know that as well as we've got hair on our head and shoes on our feet that Spence probably won't start. But this is only our predictive, well, my predictive lineup with what we would like to see.
And we know Dyer's going to start, isn't he?
Would you play Romero or Longley in the middle, or what would you do? How would you do the back three? What would your back three look like, Ellie?
I'd keep it exactly how you've got it, because Spence, right, he's a right wing back. Romero can track back if he's going forward and hold his position and not come out and I'll hold his position while Spence is attacking. Longlay's fantastic on the ball, really good in the air as well. He's a cultured player. I like him.
He is.
I've heard a lot of rubbish about Longley, saying he's not good, he's this, that. And no, I've watched him. He's a very good, accomplished player. Davis, he'll give you a solid performance. He doesn't do anything fancy. His passing's not that great. But who else have you got? You've got Sessignon, who you can play there. Personally, I think Davis is better, probably all-round defender. Yeah. But I think Smith can give you more going forward.
Yeah, I actually would agree.
It's a toss-up between. I'd actually play Sess actually, rather than Davies. Yeah.
What, as a left centre back?
Because he's got more left centre back. Yeah. No, have Perisic as left centre back, and then have Davies. and Sessignon just as a left back, somebody who's just behind Perisic. But he'll go forward. He'll go forward, but he'll link the play with Perisic. And
so
then
what you saying? So what you're saying? Put Perisic in where Davis is at left centre back. Put Sessignon in where Perisic is at the left wing back. So you would have Sessignon.
No, I'm not saying that. I'm saying play Perisic as left wing back and Sessignon in Davis's place.
Really?
Yeah.
That's bold.
I know, because I personally think Sessignon gives us more going forward. He links up play more, and he's a more accurate passer than Davis. Davis loses a lot of possession with his crappy passing. He does. Yeah.
Big up
but as a defender, when he's on point, Davis is not too bad a defender. You know, he'll give his all. He'll give his all. That's one good thing in his favour.
That's bold, Ellie. Sassy on the left. I like that. That's out the box thinking. That really is out of the box thinking.
Yeah. Perisic needs someone behind him who's got the legs to bring the ball. And Davis, however good he is, he hasn't got the legs, and he's not particularly fast. And also, his passing is not on point. Yeah. Whereas Sess, his passing's a lot better than Davis.
Yeah. Well, we got Lily White Lane here. He said he would put Sess left wing back and Perisic right wing back. That's interesting.
But they tried to do that against, was it Everton? No, well, not Everton, the match before that. And it didn't work. It looks really awkward.
I think that's such out of the box thinking, putting Sessi on as a left centre back. That's bold, Ellie. I like that. That is really bold, but I like it actually. Look, please get your comments in the chat. That's just our predicted lineup. That's what we think the lineups will be. It probably won't be like that, but that's what we think. I'd love to get Philip Brady's thought on that lineup, to be fair. I will send him that.
Yeah, send him it.
I will do. I will send him that. But get your thoughts in on the chat. Let us know what you think. Any changes which you make. And actually, I will do a poll on Twitter with Ellie.
Yeah.
Do we put Queen Ellie says she wants Session as a left centre back. That is bold. Right. Also on Højbjerg as captain, I did a poll on Twitter the other night, and I never got to you, Ellie, with the result.
Okay. I know the one you mean.
Yeah. Well, okay. Now the polls have done. All right. The first poll I did was who was better? Who was the better chairman? Let me take that off so we can both come off now. Right. Who was the better chairman for Tottenham Hotspur Football Club? Levy, Sugar, or Scholar? Scholar came in second and 19%. No, there was 21 votes. It was a 12-hour stream for me. 12-hour poll. Sugar came in third at 14%. Scholar 19%. Levy 67%.
Yeah.
But see, the problem is, Ellie, with that poll is a lot of fans have only known just Daniel Levy as owner.
Yeah, yeah. So they can't judge the other two. They don't know enough about
And so who would you, I'll put that question to you and also the people in the chat. Who has been the better chairman for us? Scholar, Sugar, or Levy?
If you weigh everything up, right, it's got to be Daniel Levy.
Yeah.
It has to be. The reason being, you're comparing him to two chairmen. One nearly sent us bankrupt, and the other one sacked Terry Venables because he wanted to be the power man, right?
Well,
and he pushed Terry Venables out.
Ellie, I've got to stop you there. He sacked Venables because Venables was doing under the table.
Yeah, I understand that. But that's what I mean. There's a lot of chairmen who do undercover things and illegal stuff, but they don't get fired because the man who's above them, the chairman, right? Sorry, the man who's above them, the owner, can let it slide. So Joe Lewis will let it slide, yeah? But, well, he was still the owner then, under them, wasn't he? It wasn't the Well family, it was still him, Joe Lewis. So obviously he saw Terry Venables as a fabulous coach.
Right, it was the Wales and the Brennan family were rowing over the West Stand because we were in debt into $5 million.
So they were under Irving Scholar, weren't they?
No, Scholar, when Scholar
they were in charge of Irving Scholar.
Yeah. What happened?
But they weren't in charge when Sugar took over. It was Lewis, I presume.
No, it wasn't.
It wasn't.
No, the Well family. Yeah, listen, I am sure the Well family were in charge up to 1982, 83. Ivan Scholar then took over because the two families were rowing over the West Stand because the West Stand got into debt. Do you know the new West Stand that they were building?
Yeah. So who was their owner then?
The Well family, and then Ivan Scholar took over. Scholar was owner and chairman between 1983 to 1991.
Right, yeah. So he was the actual owner.
Yeah, and then Sugar took over with Venables in 91, the end of 91, the summer of 91, after we won the FA Cup, to 2001. He was 10 years as owner of Spurs, and then Levy and Joe Lewis came in just to take over. Yeah. Look, Ellie, we've had experience of I've had experience of Scholar and Sugar. You've had experience of the Well family.
Yes.
Scholar, Sugar. Look, we've got Filio here saying leaving 100%. We've got John Fitzpatrick saying Sugar was like the devil.
Yeah. Steve Perriman about that.
Yeah. And Levy, if I'm honest, guys, definitely has his flaws, but had to put it is in a financial stable position for the next 50 or so years, has built a state-of-the-art stadium, let himself down sometimes, though. Levy's the biggest divider in our fan base of any chairman we've had, Ellie.
Yeah.
Look, we've seen some chairmen in our past. Scholar, you and me remember our club nearly gone up the wall because of Ivan Scholar. You and me, we were checking up. I remember I was a teenager. I was only, how old was I back in 91? 10. No. I was 87. I was 10. I was around 13 or 14 at the time. And I remember going to bed one night, really upset, thinking, I'm going to wake up in the morning. I'm not going to have a club to support. Who am I going to support now? What was it like for you at that time, Ellie, and the likes of you and your brothers and your dad? And you've been to the 81 Cup final. Your dad went to see the Bill Nix sides. We had Philip Brady, the Godfather. He remembers Jimmy Good. Do you feel that the question I'm trying to ask Ellie is this, right? Do you feel with what will happen on the Scholar and what's happened on the Levy, do you feel they're somehow connected, or they're completely different happenings? Where we nearly lost the club on the Scholar, but on the Levy, financially he's left us down for the next 50 or so years, as Lee White Lane said. But on the transfers, he's let himself down. Where do you stand in all of that?
How I stand, right? So Scholar, he wasn't too bad at first, and then he decided to build the stand, put the club into debt, and nearly sent us bankrupt. All right. So, and then there were so many back end things that were going on. Like I read that Glenn Hoddle and Ozzy Ardiles and all these players needed to be paid, and there wasn't enough money in the pot. And there was so many wranglings going on in the background. It wasn't very pleasant. And I just remember being so upset that we could lose our club at that stage. And then Sugar came in and put his money in. So basically, he was our saviour. If you think that way, he was our saviour because he saved our club from going under. Because we played the '91 Cup final, and we were just barely making ends meet. I mean, we were into big debt, but I mean, in terms of paying the players, right? And then Sugar pumped his money in, and you think, oh, everything's going to be hunky dory now, but it wasn't.
No.
So, like, he didn't take us to the promised land, did he? And all our chairmen have not taken us to the promised land.
Yeah,
but
can I just say something, Ellie?
Bankrupt, and some of them have made us sustainable.
Yeah, can I just say something about the promised land? You look like you're in heaven. You look like you got back pure white. You look like, yeah, exactly. You just look like an angel. Like you've come down from heaven or something. It's really
I am an angel, didn't you know?
No.
My name's Ellie Angel.
It just looks so white behind you. It's just,
I know. It's my white blinds. They're from France. Yeah. They're French.
Yeah, sorry, Ellie. I didn't mean to interrupt you, but it just
no, it's all right. My trailer fault is still there, right? So you've got one chairman who tried to make us big by doing the West Stand and getting more money in, which was a good idea, but it just all flopped because he did it all wrong. Then you got another chairman who came in and saved us after the 91 FA Cup final. Well, just during it, he made us sustainable and got us back there, and we won the FA Cup under Sugar because he'd taken over by
no,
then.
We won the FA. This is the argument. We won the FA Cup. Scholar? It was under Scholar.
All right. We won the FA Cup under Scholar, and then we've only won
the League Cup.
So we've won the League Cup in 1999 under Sugar.
Yeah.
And then we won the League Cup under Levy in 22 years.
Yeah.
Atrocious. All of them. They're all as bad as one another, but one of them saved us from going under, and the other ones made us sustainable, but hasn't won us any trophies apart from one.
Yeah. That's true.
So they're all as bad as one another.
Yeah.
They're all idiots.
We've got Wembley one here. Yes, we've got Wembley one here. At least Ivan Scholar was interested in us winning things. Look, the Brennans are well family. They were the most successful under our thing, and we are doing the show in this. I'm in the money putting it together. Scholar,
what I would say to that, Dermot, I would say to that just before I lose my train of thought, because I do a lot nowadays. Now I'm getting older, right? So if you look at it, right, Irving Scholar was interested in winning things. Like, I could be interested in winning things, but if I don't deliver, what's the point? Yeah, you got to deliver. You can't just be interested in doing it. You've got to do it. That's what our motto is. To dare is to do. So bloody do it and bring those trophies back to White Hart Lane. Come on. I hate seeing Man City win it all the time. 4 out of 5 league championships, you know. It's ridiculous. And Liverpool have won the other one in the last 5 years. If you go back a bit further as well, who's winning the trophies? 5 clubs. 5 major clubs have won 90% of the trophies. That has to be addressed.
It does.
Where to dare is to don't. That's what we are. Not to dare is to do.
We've got Wembley one saying at least Ivan Scholar was interested in us winning things, which we did. Yeah, we won 2 FA Cups, a UEFA Cup, 3 FA Cups, a UEFA Cup, and FA Cup runners-up as well, and the League Cup runners-up as well. But look, it was
compare
Ivan
that
Scholar.
to what Man City have done. compare that to what Man City have done. They've done the treble, right? They got to the Champions League final. They lost to Chelsea, fair enough. But they've won 4 out of 5 titles. That's what I call a football club. That's how you run a football club. Yeah? And they're not even as big a name as Tottenham Hotspur in the world of football. If you go to far lands and say Manchester City, people don't even know them yet.
No, Ellie,
right? But they know the name of Tottenham Hotspur. They know the name of Tottenham Hotspur better than Man City.
I disagree.
I'm telling you.
I disagree.
Because I've been in the deepest dark areas and I say, do you know who Spurs are? Oh, yes, Tottenham Hotspur, Jimmy Greaves, Bill Nicholson.
Yeah,
it depends who you are. If you ask the youngsters, I believe we are a bigger club than Manchester City, but they've seized the power because they've got the money.
Yeah, Ellie.
And they're investing in their team.
Ellie, look, Manchester City are a bigger club because they've been more successful. They've won more trophies than us.
Sorry, Dermot, I don't agree.
Look.
They're not a bigger club than Spurs.
Ellie,
they haven't got a bigger name.
Yeah, Ellie, look.
They can't even fill their stadium, for God's sake.
What do you mean
they're not a bigger name? They might have won. Winning things don't make you a bigger club. It makes you more successful. We've got a better name than them. We've got all the history. They've got history as well, but not as illustrious as Spurs.
Yeah, Ellie,
we were the only club to win the FA Cup as a non-league club. I'll agree with you that they've got a big name now, but they're not a bigger club than Spurs.
Look,
no.
I agree with what you're saying, but the point I'm trying to make is you will go around the world, the likes of Manchester United, the likes of Liverpool.
Man United, yes, but not Manchester City.
You look at the Far East and Saudi Arabia and all them other Middle Eastern countries, wherever. At least, if you agree or disagree with the owners of Manchester City, right? At least they've done one thing. They've pumped money into transfers. They don't.
Yeah, that's what I said. No, they've pumped money into their club. Yeah, they've invested in their team.
Yeah, but
and their money.
Look, I agree with you. We are a big club. We're a big name. Tottenham Hotspur is a big name. I agree with you. I never would disagree with you on that. I've said it before in the past that we've got a big name. We're a big name. We're one of the big names in Europe because what we've done with our past. But I'm using this as hypothetical or devil's advocate, if you can say. But if you look on the other side, people can counter that argument saying, well, we're not a big club because we haven't won trophies. There's people saying you can only say a club is big because of the trophies you won. And there's other people saying you can count yourself as a big club because of your bank balance, how much money you've got in the bank. Look, we can live in our history forever. We can say we're the first club to do this. We were the first club, non-league club, to win the FA Cup, the first team to win the trophy in Europe, the first team in the last century to win the double. We were the first team, I think, in 61.
Years.
Yeah, we were the first team.
In 64 years, nobody had done it.
Yeah, we were the first team in 61, 62 and 81, 82 to retain the FA Cup. Do you know, which other clubs have done since. We were trailblazers. But if you look at like Manchester United over the since when Fergie was in charge, won everything in sight. You look at the mighty Liverpool side.
They're the biggest club in the world with Real Madrid.
Yeah, but if you go out to the Far East, Ellie, or to say where America, you see more people wearing Man United, Liverpool shirts than us. It's not because we're not a big club.
Yeah, but they're not wearing Manchester City. They're not a glamorous club.
Look,
Manchester United, yes, glamorous club. Liverpool, yes, glamorous club. Tottenham Hotspur are a glamorous club. We are.
Yeah.
We're a glamorous club. We're up there, but we're not as big as Liverpool or Man United in terms of they've got more fans worldwide. They have. But after that, it's Arsenal and Spurs. Because Chelsea don't touch us. Chelsea don't touch us for fans.
No, if you look at the last 20 years, Ellie, for winning trophies, we've been nowhere.
I
We've
know.
won one League Cup, and you look at Man United,
Yeah,
Man
we've still
City.
got a good name.
Yeah, we have a name is great, Ellie. A name is brilliant. It's great. Yeah, you can have a big name, but without having the trophies to back up that big name. That's why Man City are probably one of the biggest clubs now in the world at the moment, along with Manchester. Man United spent
they haven't got no fans.
Yeah, exactly. But look, I make this point right. Hang on there. Under the Glazers, Manchester United, I think I've spent over €1 billion on players.
Yeah.
Now, it's brought them success somehow. Mourinho went in there, won trophies with them. We're still the only club Mourinho's managed he hasn't won a trophy with.
I know. It's like we've got a voodoo at our club.
You look at Manchester City, they've got the best manager, but he's back with the best players.
Yeah.
Look, we
can draw on the level with him.
Yeah, we can draw the top players, Ellie. But over the last 20 years, we're not really a big club for the last 20 years.
We can draw the best players if we seize the power.
Will you agree?
The power is in the money.
Yeah,
the power is in the money.
Yeah, exactly. But the point I'm trying to make, Ellie, would you agree with me? Over the last 20 years, you cannot really call this a big club for the trophies we haven't won.
I don't agree. We are a big club.
Look,
Spurs are a massive club.
Ellie, I'm not disagreeing.
You fantastic standing. Everybody, I'm not missing it. I'm not missing it, Dermot. Honestly, we are a big club, Spurs. We've got fans that come from all. Do you know when I was at the ticket office? We had fans from every quarter of the world. Americans, Israelis, Armenians, Portuguese fans that support Spurs, Spanish, German. We had everybody there, right? And they actually support Spurs because I heard them talking. We love Spurs. We love Spurs. They all say we come from a long way to watch Spurs play. And look, if they're coming to watch this current team, who's not even a good team in comparison to what we had, I'm just saying we've got a fantastic name all around the world, right? And that makes you a big club when you're known. Nobody knows Man City. Nobody knows Man City around the world. They only know they're winning at the moment. Once they stop winning, they're going to go into obscurity, and Spurs will be up there.
Yeah, look, Ellie, you're sort of taking what I'm saying out of context a little bit. I've never said we're not a big club. I've never said we're a massive club. I've never said that. I agree with you on that. The point I'm trying to make is, if you look at us over the last 20 years, and some people will say, which the argument in the fan base is, Ellie, you can only say you're a big club for how many trophies you've won, right? But you can also say,
I don't put it like that.
No, but Ellie, we're agreeing, but I think we're coming at it at two different angles. Yeah. I think that's the
problem. Saying that the fans are saying that. The fans are saying you can only be a big club.
Ellie, how many times on YouTube we've watched?
You just said that.
Yeah, I know, Ellie. Ellie, you look.
Make yourself clear, though.
I am trying to make myself clear. But the point I'm making, you see, look, you were saying Man City are not a big club, right? Nobody knows who Man City is around the world. Man City, Man United, Liverpool are probably the three biggest. They do, Ellie.
Not really.
Everyone knows us, yes, I agree with you. But if you look at Man United, Man City, Liverpool, three probably other big clubs in the Premier League. People around the world know them. Look, I agree with you, we have a big name. But fans remember teams that win stuff. They don't remember, some of these new generation of fans don't remember, they want to support teams that are winning stuff now. That's why Man City have got all them so-called fans, because they're glory hunters, because they're winning at the moment. They want to support Man City. Yeah, hang on.
They can't fill their stadium. Yeah. West Ham do.
Yeah,
West Ham fill their stadium, but they don't.
West Ham. Man City fans weren't there when they were in the second division, or when they were fighting relegation. Man City during the 80s and the 90s. You look at Manchester United, didn't win the league championship from 1968 to 1993 under Alex Ferguson. 30 years. They won the odd FA Cup along the way. I think one with Ron Atkinson and a couple under, what was his name? He had
Man United are a bit different because they had the 1958 Munich air crash, and they got a lot of sympathy for that, which is fair enough, because they lost people to their team.
And you look at Liverpool as well, the 70s, the 80s, under Bill Shankly, Bob Paisley, Joe Fagan, Kenny Dalglish. You got back as far as Bill Shankly.
Much more successful than first dream of.
Yeah, but fans are fickle, Ellie. Some fans are very fickle. They just see one thing is they don't look at the history of a club. They don't look at what their club's done in the past. Some fans now don't want to know. They want trophies and they want them now.
Yeah.
It's not like going on to play FIFA 23. You can play FIFA 23 on your Xbox or PlayStation.
Yeah.
Right? And win the quadruple in your first season.
So on that assumption then...
Hang on, Ellie. Can I just finish my point? Yeah. I've got my train of point.
Yeah.
We, compared to Manchester City, we have a far better history than Manchester City, hands down. And I don't disagree with that. But for the past, say, 10 or 15 years, since Man City got the oil baron, since Man City got the ownership with the oil people, and through that, they have been more successful because they were able to throw money at the problem. Money was no object. People complain about ELLY and Enoch and Joe Lewis being a billionaire, right? And each show throw money at it. You cannot throw money at a bottomless pit. There has to be some accountability. There has to be some accountant sort of level that, look, you can only spend more than what you earn, if you know what I mean. It's no point throwing Man City throwing money at it. What happens if them owners go? Where does that leave Manchester City? In mountains of debt, right? I agree what you say, but if you look over the last 10, 15 years, Man City have been a bigger club than us on the trophy side. But if you look,
I agree with that part. I disagree with that.
If you look at the history part of it, we're a massive club history-wise to Manchester City.
Yeah.
We've won more. We've done more. So look, I think we both agreed, Ellie, but we're coming at it at different angles. And how we got onto this subject, I swear I do not know.
I know. What I was saying is that because we've got such a fabulous history, and we're a glamorous club. We are, because you go back to the 60s team, right, and the 50s team. We had the push and run side. Everybody knew that push and run side. The 61 team scored 115 goals, which is still a record to this day, right? Nobody's broken it on those dirt pitches as well, right? So we built up a history, right? Now our fan base is much bigger than Manchester City's. Even though they've got all their billions and billions and billions bottomless pit, right? We too have billions and billions and billions bottomless pit. Because you know who Levy and Lewis own is Tavistock.
Yeah.
And Tavistock, I think they're about the third or the fourth richest company in the world. So we too have a bottomless pit. But the difference is Manchester City put their bottomless pit into their team and buy Pep Guardiola, a fabulous side. And what do? The bottomless pit is in the other, is getting invested all around the world, making them even more money.
Ellie, look.
And we're not pumping into our team.
Right.
It's true, Dermot. Look up Tavistock. Look up Tavistock. And you'll see they own masses of real estate in America.
Yeah, Ellie, look, you look at
They're
Manchester.
just as big as those bloody Arabs.
Yeah.
Sorry,
Be careful,
but
Ellie.
they are.
Be careful. Apparently,
You know what
let's
I mean?
put a disclaimer in there. But look, you look at Manchester United. Right?
There's this disclaimer.
Look, Ellie, look, let's take this sort of in a bit of slight. I wish Sean was on. This is the one show I wish we had Sean Butler on. If Sean
You don't need him. You don't need him. You've got me. I know about Tavistock. I've researched it.
Ellie, it's not what I was saying. It was a joke. Sorry. Look, you look at Manchester. Yeah, you look at. I've lost my train of thought now, Ellie.
Don't worry. Keep on going. Keep on going. You was going to say you look at Manchester City.
No, you look at Manchester United under the Glazers, right? They take a dividend out of the club, right? As far as I know.
Yeah, they do.
Right?
Yeah, they do.
They pump money in, but they take money out. You look at Old Trafford; it is falling down around its knees, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Now you can moan at Levy and Enoch all you want, okay, for not putting money into transfers, and yes, and it's justified, and yes, it is right, and yes, there's players we should have bought and we didn't. There we penny pinched here, we penny pinched there, but we've had a pandemic. I think the results are coming out on the 21st of November. We, as a club, are probably in a better financial state than we have been in a long time. You have owners that divide the fan base completely, Ellie, down the middle. And we know that ourselves.
Yeah, they do.
Okay. When the new stadium was built, we all miss White Hart Lane. I do, you do, every fan does. But we had to move with the times. We had to go on to the next level, up that ladder. And we've got a fantastic stadium, which is multi-used, that's another debate all day long as well. The money from that, does it go back into the club? Tavistock Enoch is only a part of Tavistock.
It's actually Tavistock, not Tavistock. It's Tavistock. Sorry, Joe, but it's Tavistock.
It's only like a branch arm of the group, if you know what I mean. It's like a little another company. Okay. I think we're going to now start seeing this getting the best players on the CONTE. Myself personally, I think January is going to be so important.
I hope so.
I think next summer, I think they're going to have to start putting the money where their mouth is for us to compete with the Man Cities, with the Liverpools, with Arsenal. Though it hurts me to say that, but we could have worse chairmen and worse owners. We could have like the Glazers. How long have Man United fans been protesting against the owners up at Manchester United? Good 10, 15 years.
I'm not disputing that. I just like to look at what we're doing, not what other clubs are doing.
Yeah, but you have to put that into context as well. And we're not as bad as other clubs that people think we are.
I didn't say we're bad. I didn't say we're bad.
I'm not saying you did, Eddie.
We are a very, very wealthy club.
Yeah.
Very wealthy. And we can compete with the Manchester Cities, but we choose not to.
Would you rather, Ellie, this is a question, look, would you rather do what Scholar did?
I don't want to compare.
No, I'm not comparing, Ellie, but I'm making a point. Did Scholar spent money on players, right? And we were successful on the Scholar.
Yeah.
We won trophies and everything. Do you want owners like that, like Man City have got? If Enoch were to sell up, Ellie, who would you want to buy the club?
There's many people that can buy the club.
Who would you like to see? Who personally? Who do you want to see?
I wouldn't mind Google buying it. The whole of Google. Yeah.
Do you know what? I actually think that might happen, Ellie, with the naming rights. I think that might happen.
Yeah, because they do everything legitimately. Whereas Amazon, they've got a bad track record and they've been found out on documentaries about scandalous things they've been doing. So I wouldn't want them as our owners. I'm not saying Levy is a bad owner. I'm saying that they should pump more money into the team. Like, you know, when you was really upset about Bill Nicholson not even getting mentioned, and then they showed the boxing.
I'm still upset over that.
Yeah, right. See, that's the sort of thing that our club do, and it's not good. It's not good when you don't recognise that a man who took us to the promised land, because he did, right, and he won us so many trophies, and he could have won more. He could have won more if they just stuck by him and actually gave him a bit more money to invest in the side.
I think he did, Ellie, but I think he was one thing with Bill Nick. He built the double side, right? And
he scouted it himself.
Yeah, but I've heard Dave Mackay say this. I've heard Cliff Jones say this as well, and other great players. He was always searching for that second double side. He nearly had it with the late 60s under that side that won the FA Cup in 67 to 70. But that early 70s side, Ellie, was an aging side. And the same as Bill Nick, the same like Bill Shankly, there were managers of a certain era that when it came into the middle of the 70s, they had to start dealing with players, and you know, it was a different sort of atmosphere. Keith Birkinshaw
he still won 3 cups, though. He still won 3 cups. He still won 3 cups in the 70s.
That's the point I'm making.
He won the 2 League Cups and the UEFA Cup.
That's the point I'm making.
Us to get to the double again.
We could never be consistently to win a league championship, though we've been near over the years. We never matched that consistency for whatever reason. But another manager who doesn't get any recognition, I think, by the club, is Keith Birkinshaw. And that man's still alive. He's in his 80s now. Where's the recognition for him?
Because he didn't do the double like Bill Nicholson.
Ellie,
you know, but even Bill Nicholson doesn't get respected by our club, does he? He doesn't.
Well, that's actually not true. It's actually, I don't know if I told you this, but I read it somewhere that him and his wife are actually entombed in the stadium.
Yeah, I know that. I don't know if it's 100% true. But if you're saying you read it somewhere, you know, it might be true. It might be true, or they've put a capsule. But what I'm saying, there's certain things that they've done to take away the fact that we were very successful in that period, and they don't honour it. They don't honour it. They get rid of all the memorabilia. I heard that POCH didn't want anything of their old team because he said the players would feel inferior.
I heard that as well.
You should be inspired by your previous successes.
Do you know the greatest thing what Keith Birkinshaw did when he became manager? Do you know what the first thing he did, Ellie, and you should remember this as well, was he put Bill Nick back into the club again.
Yes, and he was a consultant.
Bill Nick was responsible for that 80s side. He was the one that found Graham Roberts, got Chris Newton, got Tony Galvin. He was responsible for that 80s side.
Most brilliant scout. Brilliant scout that we've ever had.
It was the same thing Kenny Dalglish did with Liverpool in '86. Bob Paisley was his mentor when Liverpool did the double in '86. Yeah. Do you think managers should bring past managers that were successful at clubs back to help them, and to get them to know the DNA of the team, or do you think what you just said, that Poch wanted everything out, that it made it put a shadow over his team? Where do you think it's wrong? Do you think that was wrong of Poch to do that?
Yeah, I do, because when you can draw. In my book, you can draw strength from previous teams and see what they did right and see how they won, the work ethic, the training methods, that Bill Nicholson was in charge of everything. Yeah, he took us from nowhere to doing the double, and then nearly doing the double the next year as well, because we finished third and then we got the FA Cup. You see, so you should be proud of your history. It's like, you know, when you're raising your kids, right? You tell them all the things that you used to do as a kid, you know, and you try and indoctrinate all the good things that you learned in your life to your kids. You know, good manners, speaking to people politely, you know, doing all the good things that you should do to teach your kids. So they could draw on that. They could draw on, you know, being a family and looking back in history and saying, we're proud that we've got that. Not brush it under the table and say that my players are going to feel inferior. They should be inspired by it. Like Manchester United, you go to their ground and they've got like statues, they've got all their players everywhere. They've got everything to remind them that they were a fantastic club and they should be inspired to do that. Yeah, that's the standard. We want them to reach that standard and don't dip below it.
Yeah, you look at, talking about statues, Ellie, which is a good point to go on to as well. You look at Newcastle United, right? They have a statue of Bobby Robson, even one of Alan Shearer, for whatever reason, God knows why. I think Malcolm McDonald. No, I think Malcolm McDonald should have one. He was a great striker for Newcastle back in the day.
Well, maybe not as prolific as Alan Shearer, though. That's the problem. But he was a very good striker.
You look at Liverpool; they have the Shankly Gates, right? And which so you look at Man United, as you said, they got Law, Best, and Charlton, and they got a statue there of Sir Matt Busby.
Yeah.
Why can't we, as a club, put a statue of say, Jimmy Greaves, of Sir Bill? He was never knighted, but he should be Sir Bill Nicholson, and like Danny Blanchflower and Keith Birkinshaw. What or one for like with Steve Perriman, our record of parents holder at the club. Jimmy Greaves, our record goal scorer, soon to be replaced by Harry Kane. Why can't we not do something as a club for like one day every season? Just celebrate our past. Have like a match between the 80s and 90s side against the current side, and make it a celebration of our club. Why can't we not do?
We do legend games, don't we? We do legend games, but I don't like the idea that we don't always praise what we did in the past. All right, you should be proud of your history and take strength from it, and then go on and do things that they did. But we've like held in insignificance.
Yeah.
In regards to winning trophies, and also the way we carried ourselves as a club. We were very admired the way we used to play football. It was the style of our football. Like everybody said, like knew Tottenham Hotspur's name in the style we played under Bill Nick was fabulous. And when he was a player as well, and then we got Keith Birkinshaw came in, and we played fabulous football in the early 80s, and then the Falklands War happened and took Aussie away from us, which was a big loss.
I've got a few comments here, Ellie, that I want to put to you. There's some really good questions and comments here, and I would love to get your thoughts on all of them, because, Ellie, you're on a roll today. Ellie, you're on fire.
I am. And I apologise about my, whatever I said. I'll retract that.
Okay. I don't know what you said. I'm sure it was okay, Ellie. Look, we okay, Oh, I know what you said now. That's fine.
Yeah,
we'll talk about it. We'll talk about it after the stream, Ellie. We're going to have to put you right lines now. I shall not say Arsenal look great.
I didn't mean it like that.
No, I know what you mean. You're granddaddy. You're granddaddy.
Yeah.
Right, Philo 123 Coys. I love speaking to this man. I spoke to him the other night in the fan show. I absolutely adore what he has to say. He's great. I hope he's on the fan show today, because I love listening to this man. Big up, Philo. He says
it's the boy from Birmingham.
Huh?
He's the boy from Birmingham.
No, he's from New York, Rhode Island.
Ah, right. Yeah. Okay. Lovely. Yeah.
He says it's the recruitment, Dermot, Ellie. You can have all the money in the world, but if you don't spend it wisely, then exactly. That's a very good point.
Very good answer. Very good answer.
We've got Kev Williams. Big up, Kev Williams. Thanks for joining us.
Okay.
We've got Adrian
Schrocker. Met him on the bus.
Big up, Adrian. He said the 703 million debt is manageable, 14 million a year interest, and then he added to that.
Yeah.
He added to that there as well, Ellie. If I can find it, there we go. Put that coming up there. He says, hang on, put the coming up here. He says payments of 40 million a year will clear our debt in less than 30 years. And that's another thing, Ellie. That's where the naming rights come in, which has gone very quiet at the moment. Now, a lot of people are saying it's another smoke screen and another thing.
Yeah.
Look, I've read somewhere it is happening. It's going to be announced over the Christmas period.
Yeah.
Google and Amazon are both in for it. Amazon want to announce it because they got all the St. Stephen's Day over here and Boxing Day View Premier League matches all on Amazon Prime. So look, watch this space. He also puts Ellie. The Bill Nicholson bust is in a glass case on the ground floor in the West Stand.
I've seen that. Yeah, that was originally in the Hall of Fame.
It was actually. Do you remember the West Stand, Ellie, at White Hart Lane? And we did a job once years ago. We were playing Middlesbrough, and our boss, the person we did the job for, he owned the box at Tottenham, and as a treat for us, because we finished, me and my dad finished the job early. As a treat for us, he invited us to the box, right?
Yeah.
And this is a true story that I'll never forget as long as I live, right? So there we all go. I'm excited because I'm going to watch Tottenham play, and just like, Brendan can't go. So we'll go into this box, right? And you go into the players' lounge, and all the celebrities are there, and the top knobs are there, and you have your bit to eat, right? But I'm sitting in this box thinking, I want to be out there on the stands. I hated sitting in the box. I felt like I was a bit of a fraud. I want to be out on the stands.
I know what you mean. Yeah, you want to be with the real fans.
Somebody else, one of the other people was in the box, right? Now, this fella was as common in London as anything. He had a proper, he was from the West End, right? So he had a proper East End accent. So, you're right, mate. How you getting on, right?
Right, mate.
Yeah. Do you know they took a shot, right? We lost to Middlesbrough, I think, 2-0 that night. Do you know they took a shot, right? And out of his mouth, what a jolly good shot that was. All right, I'm looking at him thinking, right, today I've heard you swear, I've heard you slack people off, and now you're trying to act posh, right? So we watched the match. We're going to the players' lounge. Who's there but Pat Jennings and Ginola? But that bust was in the West Stand, at the entrance of the West Stand where the car park is. Remember where the gates used to be?
Yeah.
His boss was there. The Bill Nick boss was there.
Originally, what I was told by the commercial lady underneath the commercial director now. I forgot. She walked me through a section of White Hart of our ground now. Yeah. Right, which is bare. And they said they're going to make it in, or she told me they're thinking of making it a Hall of Fame that they used to have. So they used to have all the busts a Hall of Fame before they moved it to the West Stand. Because you saw it in the West Stand, didn't you? But originally, I know for a fact from my dad that they had a Hall of Fame, and they had a lot of busts in one area of all the famous Spurs players and all the famous managers and everything, people that won things for the club, right? So this lady told me, because I'd broken my foot and it was against Leeds United, she told me they're thinking of making a little museum as well, because it's massive. It's right underneath the East Stand, underneath the East Stand. Or I could be wrong, it might be West Stand, but I can't remember. But either way, it's either the East. And it's massive, Dermot. So if they make that into a Hall of Fame, it would be so good. It's so good to go in there and bask in the glory.
We've got Kev Williams here saying, I'm sad to say that the history we have is limited to a certain point of the last 40 or so years. But there should be a Jimmy Greaves statue, a Bill Nix statue in front of our stadium. Yeah, there should be. Absolutely agree with you. Active on the Wembley one, big up, sir. It says there'd definitely be a life-size poster of Danny Levy out on the pitch in the Amsterdam, taking the acclaim fans after the 19 Champions League semi-final victory. Big up, sir. We've got Chris. I've got
Chris Agenbar.
Chris Agenbar. Big up. It says, what is the commercial lady doing under the commercial manager? What is the commercial lady doing under the commercial manager?
You know what I mean? She should be above
we leave that. We leave that all to your imagination.
We'll leave that. We'll leave that one. Yeah.
See, Ellie, you've got a warped sense of humour. I
She's
like it.
such a lovely lady as well.
Yeah.
Really personal.
One of my favourite pictures of our history is Bill at the gates at White Hart Lane. I think I've got that picture here somewhere.
Yeah. We've still got those gates.
Yeah. We do.
But where are they? Because I can't find them. They're somewhere in the ground. They're somewhere put in the ground, but I've got to find out where they are because I want to go and take a picture in front of them.
I can't find that picture. I will get that picture for you,
Yeah. If anybody knows in the chat where these gates are, please let us know.
Probably melted down for scrap metal. I think. No one else. It would. You know, and then we've got Adrian saying again, the club museum is above the club shop. I didn't know that.
Yeah, that's one of them, but they're thinking of doing another one now.
Ellie, look. We'll one more question on this. How we ever got into this conversation, and then we'll go on to the news. Tottenham.
You know what? First chat is first chat at the end.
It is. Yeah, it is, Ellie. You really are on fire today. I like this, Ellie. This is good. You always
you
agree.
Know what? Because we're both passionate Spurs fans, right? We don't have to agree, right? We can disagree and have an argument about it as long as we stay civil together. Because we're good mates, me and you, right? So after the show finishes, we'll just banter about it. I might have said something out of turn, you might have said something out of turn, but we come together as one because we all love our club.
Ellie after the stream would just bollock me and tell me to go and sit in the corner for 5 minutes. She would say, think of what you've said, Dermot, on the stream today. Go and sit in that corner, right? And right afterwards, you must listen to the Queen.
Don't put him on the naughty step.
Yeah, she will. She put me in the naughty step. Said, think what she'll get me the right lines. Be nice to your Queen. See,
when I put my cane out, that's when you've got to worry.
After 11 show, Ellie, I would have an answer to that.
I've got your bloody juices going there.
And that's what has the people in the chat.
Oh my God.
This has to be civil, Ellie. This has to be.
I'll tell you a funny story, Dermot, right? It might make the people in the chat laugh. When
is it clean? All I'm going to ask you, is it clean?
It's quite clean. It's fairly clean.
Right.
When I first got married, Theos's two cousins, they're a bit naughty, and they sent me a whip in the post. Right, so I opened up the post. I didn't know what was in it. I was an impressionable 19-year-old,
this is going
and I didn't know what to do with it. 19-year-old girl. And I said, what's this, Theos? And he started laughing because he was 25. So he's 5 years older than me. Right? So he's more, and plus he's a fella. So I said, what am I going to do with this? So he put it in a frame. He actually put it in a frame over our bed.
Yeah.
That's what Theos did.
As Drula says.
Because it was never used.
Yeah. As Drula says, la, 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 fingers in it.
That is a true story. I'm not making it up. He actually put it in a case.
My fingers were in my ears there too. John Fitzpatrick, two legends is what you are. Big up to you both, John. Thank you very much. You're very kind. Kev Williams has a question. We'll get it up. Kev Williams says, question: do you think that the loss of Ventura has had an impact on Conte at the club and the way the players are performing? I really think it may have, but understandably. Look, can I go first in this, Ellie? Then I'll go.
Yeah, of course you can.
First. I think it does. I think it's actually something that fans have overlooked. he was such an important member of that group and of that backroom staff for the players. It was somebody that they could go and talk to. It was somebody that he trained them hard, but he was always there for them. I think one of the players said it was like their granddad. He was the grandfather of the group that could go and talk to him. CONTE bounced off him, ideas of him as well. And yes, I think it's had more. I think his passing has a more of effect on the club than people actually think, than people realise. Ellie, do you agree with that? What Kev Williams said? I think it's a very good point. I think it has, personally.
Because in the very short time he was with us, in relation to what other people have been with us in the club, he made a fantastic impression. I mean, the scenes from South Korea with the players vomiting, and they still loved him. They still loved him, and he pushed them, you know, because he wants the best. He wanted the best for our club, right? And fitness plays a big part in the modern game. Yeah, if you're fitter than the other team, even though you might not be technically gifted as them, as we showed in a lot of the games this season, our fitness has carried us over the line. And that's a knock-on effect from Ventroni and all this good work that he's done. Because I've never seen Harry Kane any leaner than he is now.
Yeah.
And it's been several weeks since he's passing, but they're still keeping up that good work, the good work ethic that he put in place. You know, work your body, strengthen your muscles, do your strengthening exercises. Because if you strengthen your thighs and your hamstring, you strengthen your arms, you've got more capability of competing against the better technical players that are in the league. Because we know technically there are very good teams in the Premiership that can finish above us, but we can compete with them in other areas.
We can.
And we showed it against Manchester City last season. Technically, they're far superior to us, but we beat them twice because we competed with them. And then we played very clever. We didn't go out to play like all attacking football. We just picked our moments and we picked them off.
Well, that great point, and I hope Kev Williams, that's a great point by Ellie, and I hope that answered your question. Ellie, I've got a bit of Tottenham news to go through with you, and then I want to end off the stream on what we were talking about at the start about Tottenham history, owners, and that. Because I think it's a subject that you and me may do a stream together on it. I think we will do, because I think you and me have a lot to say. Yeah, because
we've got different opinions, and it's good.
I think, look, as I said before, Ellie, I think we're coming from we both agree, but from different angles. And I think
we both want our club to be successful.
Yeah,
that's 100%.
But I think we'll see it from different angles. But look, we'll go through some of the news, Ellie, get your thoughts on it. And we'll get, so the first one here, it was from, if I can find it on my phone, it's about the relationship between the Juventus owner Angelelli and with Conte, and the Juventus rumours with Juventus crashing out the Champions League this weekend. Their manager is now under threat, and it was in the Gazzetta Sport that Angelini wants Conte to come back, which could happen. If I can find the article for you. Ellie, what's your thoughts on that one? I'm just trying to find the article.
If I'm Angelini, of course you want Conte back. Why wouldn't you want a winner walking through your doors? Why wouldn't you want to prize them away from Spurs? But I don't know. I just felt like from that interview that Conte gave, that I watched really intently, and I've watched it 4 times, Dermot, now. Yeah. You know, sometimes when you watch things for the first time, you don't always take every single word and try and analyse it. Yeah, but I've really analysed it, and I really do believe that he said 3 really good poignant words: family, patience, and building blocks. Yeah. Right? So those 3 words, they hit true with me, because he feels part of a family, he feels accepted, which is very important to Conte. because every club he's been at, he's always had owners that try and dictate to him everything that they want him to do. Yeah, and he's always walked out of clubs where really angry, and he's even sued some clubs, right? So now he's found a place where he feels comfortable. Like there's one person, I can't remember who said it, but he's found his wife. He's all had his mistresses, but now he's found the wife and he wants to settle. Yeah, and he don't want to sow his seeds everywhere else, right? So he's found a base with us. Yeah.
Well, this is what was in the article, and it's actually in the Mirror. It's actually in the Mirror UK. Actually, this article. It quickly says Antonioni is wanted by Juventus to return to the Italian giants next season, according to the front page splashed on Gazzetta dello Sport, which is the top sport paper in Italy. Because Conte was Juventus manager between 2011 to 2014. He says, but it's also in here, he says, but Gazzetta claims the Juventus board are losing patience with Angeleri and will look to bring back Conte if they fail to win a trophy and qualify for the Champions League. In brackets, they put, we will assess the situation at the end of the season, said Angeleri. We're not in the habit of making changes during the season. The former Conte is out of contract at the end of the season. On an down, but that is down to the club to reactivate that contract. So the ball's really is in Tottenham's court, if you know what I mean, Ellie. Gazzetta claims he's reluctant to sit. Now, this is what they're saying. He's reluctant to sit down with the Spurs board to extend his deal because of the chance of returning to Serie A. Look, we know his family's in Italy for personal reasons because his daughter's in the last year of her school in Ellie. He goes home after every game. Do you feel that we have to show him in January that we're a club worth sticking around for? Is this January window become the most vital window for us for the last while to show Conte we're prepared to go that extra mile?
Well, from that interview as well, he said that it's the building blocks, right? And he said you need 3 transfer windows. And he said it in the past as well, not just in that interview. So it's not just the January one, it's the summer and the one after that. So I'm thinking if he said that and then he deserts us and goes elsewhere, back to Juventus, because that is his boyhood club, isn't it? That's who he supported, that's who he played for. So you could understand if he went back, but I just feel like if he said that and he's lying to us to make us, to appease the fans so that he don't think he's leaving, I just saw truth in his words. You know, when somebody says something and you really do believe them, right, the family bit really drew me in because he feels like he's part of a family. And he feels at home and he feels well loved. The fans absolutely adore him. The chairman respects him, right? He's just, what I think he's got to do now is seize the power, the full power from Levy, so that he can't make any signings, because already he's gone and bought Spence, right? But it's a club signing, the boy Udoji was Paratici's and Conte signing, but they loaned him back. But was that Conte who loaned him back or the club? Because we couldn't afford him on the wages. I don't know.
No,
I'm straying off the thing. What I'm saying
hang on,
is,
Ellie. I actually will. I got him. The club bought him, but part of the deal, they had to loan him back for the remainder of this season. So
was it Daniel Levy who chose him, or was it Conte who chose him?
Look, Paratici, Conte goes. This is how I think it happens. Conte has a list of players. He then goes to Paratici. Paratici then does what Paratici had done. He's got all the plates spinning. He's cooking a big bolognese with lots of pasta and mince and everything in the pot. And olives, and he's got the garlic bread going, and he's really cooking a big Italian meal.
Yeah.
And then he goes to Levy. I need such amount of money. Levy says, "Look, there's the credit card. Go and do what you need to do." This is what I think does happen, right? And he says, "Well, bring me back a bit of bolognese when you've cooked it, because I'm quite hungry." Right? Getting naming rights is a hungry business, right? So he brings in his bolognese, right? But we loan these players back because clubs now are doing. I think they're wanting him for this season, where that player is. I don't think it had anything to do with wages. I think it's a Conte signing, it's a Paratici signing. You can bet your bottom dollar that Conte wanted him. Now, will they bring him back in January? That's an option.
Yeah,
I agree with you. It was a Conte signing.
In the contract then that we can bring him back in January.
Well, look, we've loaned him back to the club, Ellie, so we have to pay the club compensation to break that loan to bring him back out. So I think that would happen. But for Conte staying, Ellie, do you think he'll sign a new contract? Yes or no?
Yes.
Yeah, I think he will do. Right. The second bit of news, we're talking about the Godfather's favourite radio station in the whole wide world. And can I just say, I watched Simon Jordan and Graham Souness on Monday. It was the most funniest argument I've ever watched in my life. It was brilliant. I love Graham Souness anyway.
I missed it.
Anyway, so Glenn Hoddle was on this morning on the Talk Sports Breakfast with Alan Brazil, and he was saying Hoddle wants Maddison. Maddison Spurs. Hoddle says Spurs are crying out for him, and the quotes then for him, Ellie. Well, the rest are quotes because it's on the radio. He says, "I love him. If he was in the top 16, he'd be a shoo-in for England." Do you think we should go for Maddison in January and get him in now?
100%. Right, we're crying out for some creativity, and he can also score goals. He can assist and score, which is important. You can't just assist. Like De Bruyne scored 2 goals and assisted 9, right, so far. Right, so he has scored 6. I think Maddison scored 6 and assisted 8. So there's the difference. Everybody's saying De Bruyne, but Maddison's got better stats. Yeah. And also, he's done it for several years. It's not just a fluke this year. He's consistent. He got that major injury, didn't he? He had to come back. Now you're seeing the true Maddison. He's got his fitness back. He's got his mojo back. Right, and I think this is the right time to strike for him while he's at his height, because he's got over that bad injury he had, and he's got all his confidence. He plays with a swagger. At White Hart Lane, he was fabulous. Yeah, we beat him 6-2, but he was one of the best players on the park, if not the best. Because I was watching how he was moving, Dermot, and he was fabulous the way he picks up pockets of space. As a midfielder as well, myself, I look for that. Because I was a creative midfielder as well, right? So I look for those types of players. You've got your Modric's, your Ardiles, your Ginolas, your Waddles, your Hoddles, and then you've got all the other players who play for other teams, which I don't want to mention. I just want to mention Spurs players, right? Yeah. So you need that creativity that can score goals and assist, and that is the difference between him finishing top or finishing second. That could be the big difference. Look what Man City are doing now with Haaland. They've got a proven goal scorer. De Bruyne's feeding him. De Bruyne doesn't have to really score anymore, really. He's only scored 2. Because he's chipping it into Haaland to score. Yeah, so you need that type of player. We need it. But I agree with Hoddle. We're crying out for it.
Yeah, I agree with you too, Ellie. I think we are crying out for a player like Maddison, somebody that can sit behind the front. If you play a 3-5-2, that can sit behind the front 2 basically, and that can do what he does. Let Sunder. The goal he scored against us when Leicester played us when we beat them 6-2 his goal was brilliant. I have to say he is the engine room, and I think look, I'm surprised he's not in the England side more. I think he would be, and I think if he has a good, I don't know if he's in contention for your World Cup squad, but I think he should be. I think they're making a 56-man squad to whittle it down. I think he should be in that original 56-man team squad. Right, Ellie, we're moving on now to Antonio Conte. Now, his press conference is happening at the moment. Yeah. So I'm bringing sort of the latest news from that. And the next thing is, right, this was this morning. I think it was on a couple of the back of the papers, also in a couple of the Spurs news website as well. Antonio Conte has slammed the use of VAR in the Premier League and Champions League this season, claiming multiple decisions have gone against Spurs. Now, before I ask you about that, Ellie, his quote from the press conference is, and I'll read it to you, which he's just having at the moment. I think I was very clear after the game what I said, and I confirm what I said is simple. My feelings about the situation is the same. He doesn't like speaking in lyrics, doesn't he? It's
you like remember, English is not his first language, isn't it?
I know, but it's quite. Right. I love how he speaks. It's really. Yeah, it is a little bit. I repeat, that decision was really wrong, he says. And then he was asked if VAR is ruining the excitement of football. He replied, I continue to think it is impossible to make mistakes with VAR. You have the screen, you have the time. It's impossible to make mistakes for these reasons. For me, it's impossible to make the wrong decision with VAR, and to keep everyone waiting for 4 or 5 minutes means you have confusion in your mind. Against Newcastle United, it was impossible to see a player, Callum Wilson, not block Hugo Lloris. It was so clear, another mistake. And we are talking about situations that are so clear. I hope in every situation to see honesty, to make mistakes with VAR. I don't want to say what I think. Now, Ellie, he's right. We've got the Callum Wilson going against Newcastle, against Hugo Lloris. We've got the offside. That wasn't offside, though Dave Clark says it's offside, and I'm still going to say it's not offside on the other nights. Look, Ellie, my view is VAR needs to go. It needs to go now. And we should go back to how it was. Have goal line technology there for seeing if it's a goal. Do you feel Big Brother in football has taken the joy and the excitement out of the game?
Yeah, I think because there's so much money involved in football now, right? They've brought this VAR in to make sure that the right decisions are getting made, but they're not being made. Not all the time. They're making really bad gaffes. And if it's not a clear and obvious mistake, they said, I read today that they've got like lasers or goal line technology, not goal line technology. You know when they draw the lines, they've got lasers that draw the lines. And then I read that if it hits the player unintentionally, and then you're in an offside position, it should be ruled offside. I can't remember what I read. Anyway, everybody who knew the rule was saying it was offside. Everybody was saying Kane was offside. So they said that VAR got it right.
But do you think, Ellie, you as a fan, do you think VAR is sucking the enjoyment out of the game?
Yeah, it's spoiling the fun. So, you just want the referee to give a decision. Whatever he says goes, and there's no waiting 4 minutes, Dermot.
I know.
We're like, we're celebrating. It takes all your joy away. So you're left empty.
Yeah.
You're left empty when you're leaving the ground.
Yeah. Look, you look, I love my Formula One, right? Absolutely adore the sport, apart as much as I love my type of football. They have, I mean, we all know what happened at the end of the Grand Prix last year. It was just totally done wrong. But they have stewards. They have an ex-Formula One driver and a couple of stewards in their stewards room.
Yeah.
Do you think for VAR to work that there has to be a referee at every doing the VAR that has been in the game for the last 10 years with ex-players from the last, say, 10 years, 15 years? It's no point having players from the 80s because they look at it different there. But people that have played in the Premier League who've recently retired, Do you feel we need something like that, or does VAR have to go? Just keep it for goal line technology, and then just get rid of it? Or do you feel FIFA and UEFA are changing the rules so much where it's so difficult even for the VAR man to make a decision, where the old rule was if you're ahead of a defender by a certain amount, you're offside? Does the rules have to do you think UEFA and FIFA have to simplify the rules to make it easier for VAR, or does VAR have to go completely?
Do you know what? Do you know the man in VAR? There's too many VAR, isn't it? So it's open to human interpretation as well. So they probably don't even know all the rules. So they're looking at it for a good 3 or 4 minutes, and then they realise they have to make a decision, right? So when they're looking at the rule, they can't get it wrong, really, can they?
No.
They can't really get it wrong. But it is open to interpretation. When the ball is played, when they draw the lines, right? Emerson is not offside, right? Kane, it hits the defender, and then it goes to Kane, who's in an offside position. As it hits him, he's straight offside. So what they're saying that they got the decision right. Yes. Yeah, so but I just feel there's too many cooks that spoil the broth.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? So I think they should scrap it and let the referee make the decision.
But if they're not going to scrap it, do you feel it should be a referee who's just retired and have 2 ex-players from the last 10 years as the VAR team?
That would make it better. That would definitely make it better. Yeah. Because you've got they'll be well versed up. I think they should be well versed up on all the rules and all the rule changes before they go into that room.
Yeah.
Because I think half of them don't even know what they're looking at.
Yeah. It's UEFA or FIFA who make the rules. Do you think they're making it too complicated?
Yeah. But they're confusing the person in the VAR. I don't actually blame the person in the VAR room. I blame the rules and FIFA for setting all these stupid rules. And it's a different rule in FIFA than it is in the Premiership. They should have some consistency. Because I read that the Premiership rules are slightly different. I don't know if that's true, but that's what I read.
Yeah, it is. Dave Clark was putting that up last night. Ellie, another thing about that night as well, Tottenham have decided against appealing Antonio Conte's Champions League ban. Now, he cannot be on the touchline. I think the ban is they can't be on the touchline. He can't speak to the players. He can't do anything with the players. His comment the other night is, Ellie, and I quote him to this, in his press conference, he says the club have to be strong. Do you feel the club have let Conte down by not backing him, not appealing his ban?
No, I don't, because at the end of the day, they have to go by the rules, and he did break the rules. So, you know, they can't just say, no, you didn't do that, because it's all on telly. Yeah. You know, he's got all the evidence. So they have to stick to their guns and say, we can't back our manager. We've got to let him have the red card and hold your hands up and say he did wrong.
Yeah.
He's a passionate man. He loses it sometimes, doesn't he?
Yeah. But look, I feel the club let him down here. I think the club should have appealed it. I mean, that's what he was saying. I feel that he'd be hurt by that. He'd be hurt by the club not standing by that man. You know, look, this is what happened. Man. Yeah.
He's a strong man of principles.
Yeah.
I think for me, it's done wrong.
Yeah. For me, also, moving on to our favourite player, Ellie, Mr. Højbjerg, the new captain. And I'm just going to bring up his quote. He done an interview this week. Where is it now?
Made him captain?
No, I'm just saying he's our captain.
Oh, right, yeah. Oh, I was going to get excited then.
Yeah. The club are offering him a new contract, Ellie. We're going to get onto that in a minute.
Yeah.
Højbjerg on looking after his father, football. Something about looking after his father. I don't think that's all the news. Yeah, that's all the news I can see. And also Harry Kane. Harry Kane has put his contract talks with Tottenham till after the World Cup. So that's all the latest news from Tottenham Hotspur. Ellie, look, the chat are buzzing. The chat is buzzing, talking about VAR. Talking about, we've got John Fitzpatrick saying about, they're talking about Cess. We've got John Fitzpatrick saying here, Sanchez, Dyer, Davis, Cess, Doherty, Chicken, Royale, all far below the standards of and to win anything. End of. Look, I sort of agree with that. I don't agree with that, John. We've got Tony Young. Big up, Tony. Thanks for joining us. He says, give youth a chance. Sar, Spence, Hill says, Skip can't be no worse. It's true. Ellie, look, we're going to end up now because we're all going to hopefully get on to the Irish Hotspur, which is starting very soon. Ellie, we're back tomorrow morning with our pre-game thoughts, you and me.
Yeah.
I love doing these streams when this is you and me because you and me have such good banter and thing.
It's good to lose. You can lose your rag, but we don't lose our rag. We just try and put our case, and we do talk over up sometimes. But that's because we're passionate about what we believe in. You know.
So the last thing the last thing we're going to talk about, Ellie, is the first game on Tuesday. This is the group. All Spurs need is a point to qualify for the Champions League into the into the last 16. Do you feel we can, just very quickly, Ellie, do you think we'll get out of this group? Yes or no?
Yes.
I think we will.
I think we'll actually beat Marseille.
Who do you think will qualify, Ellie? Who do you think will go in qualify with us?
Us and Sporting.
See, I think it'll be us and Frankfurt.
I think Sporting are a better footballing side than Eintracht Frankfurt. But Eintracht Frankfurt are a stronger physical side. But I think their guile and their technique and that will get them over the line. I think they'll beat Eintracht Frankfurt.
Yeah. I think myself a bit Tottenham and Frankfurt, Ellie. I think Sporting are a bit. Look, we saw the other night, once we attacked them, they're not very defensively good. Look, they could have beaten us, but it wasn't for Hugo, some he says. But I think it'd be Frankfurt and Spurs that go through. And Ellie, this is our last. These are our fixtures now before the World Cup. Bournemouth away, Marseille away, Liverpool at home, Forest away in the Cup, and then at home to Leeds. Forget the Marseille game, so we won't mention that because we know that's nothing. But the three Premier League games we've got left, Ellie. What are you hoping for them? How many points do you want? How many points?
Said we're going to lose the Bournemouth game yesterday.
How many points, Ellie, do you think we should pick up in the next three Premier League games?
Okay. I think we'll get 5. Yeah.
So, a win.
Draw against Liverpool, beat Forest, and draw against Bournemouth.
Well, Forest is the League Cup, so that's the League Cup.
Sorry. Leeds United, I'll say 7 then.
So 2 wins and a draw.
Yeah, I said yesterday we're going to lose to Bournemouth, but I'm going to say we're going to beat them now. I'm not being pessimistic. Because I can see some changes coming in. That's why, Dermot.
Yeah, I can too, Ellie.
They want to rest some players for that Marseille game. And I think those players are going to take their chance to impress. Yeah. Right, so I think 7. I think we draw against Liverpool, beat Bournemouth, and beat Leeds.
Yeah, for me personally, I think we'll beat Bournemouth tomorrow. I think we'll beat Liverpool at home. Liverpool are not playing great this season. They're not the same. I think we can get 6 points out of them 3 Premier League games. I think they're all winnable. I know people are going to say, "Don't you been deluded? Take your head out of the clouds,
deluded. In our deluded world, we're top of the league all the time, aren't we?
And I think we'll beat Forest as well. But look, Ellie, thank you so much again. I've really enjoyed this stream with you. We've got with just a few more people. Dermot,
that's true.
Yeah, hang on. Yeah, big up Wilton McDonald. Good morning, Dermot and Ellie.
Hello,
Good
Wilton.
morning, Wilton. Hope you're doing well, sir. John Fitzpatrick, Dermot, you'll never beat the Irish. No, you never will. I haven't said that saying in a long time, to be fair. But no, you never can beat the Irish. We're the best country in the world. Wilton McDonald says VAR is not the problem. It's still the officials who are making the decisions in the little room miles away. Yeah, they probably ate a lot of magic mushrooms on Wednesday night, which is what they were probably doing. Tony Young, I'm lucky I watched the double side. Tony,
well done.
We'd love to get you. Me and Ellie want to do. Love to get some people on talk about their. Yeah, get you one. So please get in touch with me and Ellie. Same as you, Wilton. Same as the anyone. Get in touch with their emails on the Premier on the YouTube channel. Get in touch with us. We'd love to get you on and talk about your times watching Spurs in the 60s. And lovely to get you on. So please, Tony, thank you for watching us and big up, Tony. We've got Wilton McDonald. Agree, Ellie. And then we've got John Fitzpatrick. Don't see us going to France and winning, if I'm honest. Look, I think we're going to get a point here. I think we're going to get what we need. Ellie, it's been a joy as always. Thank you so much for everything. And look, me and Ellie, we're doing a little pre-record later to say thank you for us reaching 700. And also in that will be an update of shows that are upcoming as well. We're now going to bounce out. We're now going to try and get in the queue to go onto the Irish Hotspur. So
I've already put my stake in. I've already text David that I want to come on, so hopefully he's seen it.
Yeah, we're gonna bounce over there. So everyone, if you are going into the Irish Hotspur, put in the chat you are on THFC till I die. So let Dave know where you come from. Ellie, Ellie, do you want me to
do my usual thing?
Yeah, hang on. Just let me get ready. Let me get you on solo layout.
I want to do Tottenham till I die today.
Okay, hang on. Just let me get. There we go, Ellie.
Take
it away.
Right, ready? I'm Tottenham till I die. I'm Tottenham till I die. I know I am. I'm sure I am. I'm Tottenham till I die. I'm Tottenham.